Oh, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of First Canada Live. We're back. It's been a while. We took a little bit of a break for the FRC build season, but oh boy, it's First Canada Live season now, folks. We have a great show in store for you tonight. I'm your host, Karthik Kanagas of Apathy, and this is a show where we get together to talk with teams, personalities from around our community about robot stories and everything else in between. So it's going to be a fun ride today. However, folks, as Canadians, it is important to recognize the land of which we are a part. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect upon the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we celebrate today. We acknowledge the elders and youth, past, present, and emerging, of all the land on which we work and live. We honor the ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. We also acknowledge this land out of respect for the indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America. The indigenous peoples have been gifted the role of caretakers of this land long before the arrival of settler peoples until today. But most importantly, we remember the history of these lands and the people that have been tainted by poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who called Canada home before it was given this name. This history is something that everyone is affected by. We are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect on, and each of us is affected by this history in different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, it does not define our future. All right, folks, now to get us started, I think I need a co-host for today. Feeling kind of lonely over here. So let's introduce our Youth Council co-host, Kevin. What up, Kevin?
It's good. You?
I'm doing great. Kevin is from Team 6135, Arctos from Toronto, and a member of the First Canada Youth Council, and also a recent winner of the first Lego League Challenge Ontario East Provincial Championship Volunteer of the Year Award. Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a bit of shockers for me. So hi, I am Kevin, as Karthika said. I'm from, as he also said, 6135. Been a member of First for around 4 years. And during that time, been very involved in my team, Arctos, kind of on the design mechanical side. And I just also do a lot of volunteering. You've probably maybe seen me at events around from FRC to FLL. And yeah, it's been a great time. And I'm looking forward to doing this stream.
Well, this show is going to be a lot of fun, Kevin. And I want to ask you, how's your build season going?
Honestly, going pretty good. I think compared to past years where we had a bit of struggles with kind of timing and just like the building itself, kind of running into like mechanical issues here and there. Honestly, this year it's been going pretty swell. So
That's pretty impressive because, like, honestly, mechanical issues, electrical issues, that's all part of build season. It's part of the challenge and a little bit of the fun, even, because it's like about how are you going to overcome and how are you going to figure this stuff
absolutely.
out. All right,
Yeah, I think
Kevin,
one of the things our team,
no,
sorry,
go
yeah.
on. No, go on.
One of the things I think our team has gotten a lot better with is like kind of figuring out solutions. I think last year we didn't have as much experience because of like the COVID years, but this year with like kind of those years under our belt, I think we figured out a lot of like ways to improvise upon some of the issues we faced, and it's been working out great so far. So
There we go. It's been good. All right, Kevin, we got a really fun show today. On tonight's show, we've got the first Lego League Challenge Ontario Provincial Championship Champions Award winner, Team 13891, Stamp Stations. And we have the first Tech Challenge Ontario Provincial Championship Inspire Award winner, Team 16366, the TFS Robotics Unicorns. And we got a discussion with some of our first robotics competition referees as we get ready. Actually, the first FRC event of the season has already been played out in Israel. So we've already got an event under our belt. There's events happening this week all across the world. And Ontario is going to be getting started next week at both Newmarket and Centennial. Are you going to be at either of those events?
Newmarket, not Newmarket because I'm at Centennial, so we'll
Oh,
be
you're at
competing
Centennial.
there at
There you
Centennial.
go. Scarborough. What?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah,
It's gonna be a great time. All right,
absolutely.
Kevin. As is tradition on this show, it's really important, especially at the depths of build season, that we're focusing on our mental health and our wellness. And so the Youth Council traditionally talks a little bit about a wellness moment. So how are you, keeping your mind in a good place at this time of year?
Yeah, I think one of the things I really enjoy doing whenever I'm like feeling really stressed out or just like, you know, overwhelmed with all the work I have to do is just kind of go and do some baking or cooking. The way I find it is you're kind of being productive while also ending up with like some time to yourself to think, to just like kind of chill out, relax. And then at the end, after you're done, whatever you're baking or cooking, you have like something to eat in front of you, which is always a great treat. So I find that's one of the things I really enjoy doing. I often like bake cookies, cake, etc. And then recently I actually went out with a friend and just like baked some small crabs, which were interesting. So yeah,
Nice. What's your favorite recipe, Kevin?
I think there's like this one recipe for chocolate chip cookies that I got from like a YouTube channel called like Tasty.
Hmm.
And that one, it's like it's been kind of my go-to for making cookies. So
Nice. Yeah, I like doing shortbread. Shortbread is one of my favorite ones to
ooh,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's also like super easy. So It's a good one there. But when it comes to cooking, I like doing like stir fry just because you can experiment with a lot of different spices and sauces. And like
Yeah.
uh next to the University of Waterloo, there used to be a big restaurant there called the Mongolian Grill where it's like make your own stir fry. So that's where I kind of learned and everything
Really?
like that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so cool.
But
Okay, okay.
yeah, we'll
It's like
talk about it when
cooking
we're
without doing the actual cooking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like just like, oh yeah, like all the vegetables are chopped and everything, and you just toss it in the grill.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Kevin, it's time to hit our news updates. Hey, FRC teams who are watching tonight's show, did your team opt out of either the Kid Apart Drive Base or the Black Tote? If so, don't forget your vouchers. You have vouchers available. If you opt out of the Kid Apart's Drive, you have a $450 Andy Mark voucher. If you opted out of the Black Tote, you got a 125 Andy Mark voucher and a 125 Rev Robotics vouchers. And also, if you haven't used those vouchers yet, all Andy Mark vouchers can be redeemed at Andy Mark in the US or here in Canada from Studica. And Rev vouchers can be redeemed at revrobotics.ca. So just something to keep in mind. Don't let those go to waste. They're part of your registration fee. Use them. And there's all sorts of great things that you can be getting. First Canada Live, folks. Hey, guess what? We're into the season. So we are here today. Then we will be off next week, but then we'll be back every single week afterwards doing recaps of the events. So if you're watching events on the weekend, you want to see a recap, or if you missed your favorite team playing on the weekend, tune into First Canada Live. We'll be doing some recaps, some deep dives. We'll be analyzing match video. Really good place to learn about how, the strategy of Crescendo. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and you can find that there. And always these episodes are available on our YouTube channel, but you can also find them on Spotify and Apple Music because we're a podcast now. Isn't that wild? Yeah, it's cool. All right. Kevin, are you a member of the Ontario Team Slack?
I believe I am actually.
Yeah, it's a great
Great
place to
place.
go if your team has questions about something. You're like, oh, how do we wire this motor and what wire gauge do we need and that sort of stuff. Post in the team Slack. All the teams are there to support and help out, and it's a great place to get quick, accurate answers to your FRC and FTC questions. And then, of course, for all our First Canada alumni who are tuning into this show, make sure you've joined the First Canada Alumni Network to be kept up to date about updates, newsletters, all the excitement of Alumni Alley happening at provincials. So if you want to get signed up for all of that, go to firstroboticscanada.org/alumni to get on our mailing list, join our LinkedIn group, Alumni Corner. Kevin, you get to join the alumni group soon because you're in grade 12, right?
Can't wait. I can't wait, but also I can't wait.
Yeah, I know it's like you don't want your high school career to end, but it's like, oh yeah, I get to be an alumni.
Exactly. But
Hey, and
then new things.
this year at provincials, we got some pretty cool alumni swag to hand out. So
Oh
just
boy.
saying,
Looking forward to that.
that alumni social at provincials, you're going to want to be there because grade 12s will be invited because that's their season ending right
Yeah.
there.
Noted.
All right, folks. Hey, that's the end of our news updates. We're going to be back with our FLL Challenge team in just a moment. Before we do that, let's take a look for a word from one of our sponsors, Hatch.
When I was applying for co-ops, I was really looking for a place that would allow me to have the greatest amount of experience. And since Hatch is such a big company, I knew that I would be able to get involved with all the different groups that the company offers.
What surprised me about working at Hatch was the amount of responsibility that you're given very quickly, like once you start.
There's so many opportunities to learn, not just from specialists in the field, but also from something like Lunch and Learns, or even Safety Shares. So it's not something technical that I'm learning, but something that might help me in my everyday life.
For me to be able to just walk into their office and ask them whatever I want, to schedule a meeting whenever I want, to be able to work directly with them on building things was an insanely good experience.
As a student, I am as much valued as the other employees that are here.
I enjoy working here because people are very friendly, and this environment that they created has been more than absolute perfect.
All right, folks, we are back. So, Kevin, volunteer a lot with First Lego League Challenge, right?
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're volunteering, you were mentoring a team this year, right?
That's true. Yeah. King Edward. Their name is, oh, yes, they made a new name this year, Lithium Lions.
Lithium
Very cool
Lions,
name.
right? Yeah, so we're gonna be doing right in your ballpark right now, talking First Lego League Challenge. And hey, who better to
Awesome.
talk about First Lego League Challenge with than none other than First Canada's first Lego League Challenge program manager, Annika Pint. Hi, Annika.
Karthik, hi, Kevin.
Welcome back to the show, Annika. So I know we got a team here and they're really excited. So we're gonna bring them out right away. But I just want to ask you, how did this year's FLL Challenge season go?
Spectacular. And this team that you'll be meeting shortly is outstanding, but they are representative of all of the incredible teams that participated throughout the province. We've got over 300 teams competing this year, and so excited to have this team and 5 others representing Ontario at some international competitions. So you'll hear more about the preparations that they're making for that event very shortly.
All right. Well, then I think let's not waste any time. Let's bring out the Champions Award winner, Team 13891, Stamp Stations from Mississauga. Say hello to Aaron, Anish, Aviva, Brian, Emma, Kevin, and Manav. How's it going, team?
Great.
All right. It's great to hear from you. And you know what? I think we're going to start off because I hear you have your presentation ready for us. Would you like to give that presentation now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Innovation project presentation. Let's do it.
All right.
Hey kids, I have an activity that will knock your socks off. Stamp collecting. Me and Martha used to run around town.
Yeah, no one really does those old person hobbies anymore, Grandma.
It's so 1900s, Grandma.
Did you see this new
Like,
TikTok?
subscribe.
So many old hobbies filled with history and culture are being lost. If only there was a way to engage youngsters in stamp collecting.
Well, I have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to Stamp Stations.
Stamp station, what in the world is that?
Stamp Stations is an app that combines the traditional hobby of stamp collecting with modern-day arts and technology, using augmented reality and precise location tracking. Stamp collecting originated in the 1840s in Great Britain, spreading globally with even US President Theodore Roosevelt endorsing the hobby.
He said, in addition to the fun of it, it has kept my interest up in history and geography, past and present. I believe that stamp collecting makes one a better citizen.
Sadly, the rise of communication technology like email virtually replaced postage, leading to the decline and eventual loss of stamp collecting in the modern era. At the start of the FLL season, we explored diverse ideas like music, gaming, and stargazing. To choose the best, we meticulously analyzed each hobby using a pros and cons list, considering both qualitative and quantitative data.
As you can see, we've generated many innovative ideas, but we're selecting one to plan and develop.
Thus, our idea is a global treasure hunting game featuring digital stamps scattered worldwide, waiting to be discovered.
Our app is engaging and educational. Capture digital stamps to unlock detailed descriptions, learning about their relevance to the area's history, geography, and cultural significance.
Have no friends? Stamp stations can help you with that too. By designing your own stamps, connect with like-minded individuals as you share stories, personal stamps, and ask questions on our community forum.
What would you choose to commemorate with a stamp? Stamp stations is not only good for the mind, but also for the body. While users are collecting stamps, they will also be collecting steps. Our research analysis revealed an over 70% increase in physical activity weekly.
We engaged our community by asking for feedback from over 25 users and 8 professionals from a variety of fields, who all gave us their stamp of approval.
To measure success, we conducted pre- and post-prototype surveys. Initially, a 0% interest in stamp collecting was reported, with users saying it was a pointless, boring hobby. However, after testing our prototype, interest surged to a shocking 96%.
We analyzed feedback from our users, which shaped app improvements, such as one respondent suggesting incorporating a reward system in the app, which became a key feature of our app. We used the engineering design process throughout the development of our innovative idea, starting with paper drafts in September and continuously refining our solution with extensive research through dozens of documents, user feedback, and expert consultation.
During our design process, we consulted with a number of experts. One of them is Allison Friend. He works at a stamp auction company, as well as Joy Parks, a media relationship expert who works at Canada Post. who gave us the green light to use their stamps in our app.
The user interface for our app was made using Figma with the help of a graphic designer, Andrea Jags. Our app was coded in Unity using the C# language. Consultation and guidance from software developers Jaya Krishna Kupaswamy and Inyang Lee enhanced efficiency and location tracking in our app.
Despite our efforts, coding still presented some challenges.
Notably, placing stamps in specific real-world locations proved elusive, as this method was not widely used. However, our team toiled away and we eventually found documentation for geospatial anchors in Unity, which gave us our solution.
To help us solve some of the more complex issues, we enlisted the help of Noah Rosenfield, a game developer and the CEO of Wanton Games.
We take pride in many months of dedication and hard work that have shaped numerous iterations of our app since September. STAM Stations has the potential to make a significant positive impact by enhancing mental health, improving physical health, and boosting intelligence.
We hope that our app can help revive this hobby and cause a
STAM Station!
All right, thank you, Stamp Stations. That was fantastic. Love that presentation. I honestly, you know, when I heard your name was the Stamp Stations, I didn't put it together that I was stamps. And Annika was like, does that have something to do with stamps? And I was like, no, I think it's like Stampeders or something. And what do I know? So, Stamp Stations, please tell me, where did you come up with the idea for this project?
Okay, so at first we considered many different ideas. So one of them was an app that would aid music teachers, but we eventually landed on our idea about stamp collecting for several reasons. So one thing was that we thought that stamp collecting was a pretty unique hobby, and we believe that doing it is a really good thing to do in our modern era with so much technology around. And we also thought that doing this app and implementing the geocaching aspect of it would also help people get more exercise and be more fit. So overall, because of its uniqueness and way that would benefit our current era, we believe that it was a great idea.
Well, it definitely was a great idea. That much is for sure. Hey, Kevin, do you got a question for the team?
I think after you guys won the what was it? After you just won Champions Award, yeah. What was it like hearing your team name announced?
We couldn't even believe it. So we thought we might get like third or second, but because there are 40 teams and like everyone was really good there, we didn't really think we might get first. But we heard the third team announced and we were like, okay, maybe we might get second. Then we heard the second place team announced and we kind of lost hope because we didn't want to get our hopes up too high. But then we heard like 1, 3, 9 and be like, is it us? And then when we heard the 8-1, for me personally, I was like stuck like 30 minutes in the past. I could not process what I just heard. I went like, I just high-fived everyone and it was just like super exciting.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. And Stamp Stations, which tournament are you going to now? Are you going to Houston? Are you going to Norway? Which tournament did you pick?
So we're going to Norway for the internationals competition. And even though it's not the main one, we chose this as we would have more core values and we would build more team building.
Sorry.
It's
Yeah, I mean, that's so amazing. I've never been to Norway, but it's one of the countries I definitely want to visit. I don't know, Kevin or Annika, have you been to Norway?
Absolutely. Not yet, but
Annika's-
sure. Can you take me
Annika's
with
yes.
you? I'd like to go with you.
Yeah,
If
there you
that's
go.
possible.
Just put a stamp on you, we'll send you, you know? We'll send it over
True.
there.
Yeah.
For Stamp Stations, for maybe one of you to answer this question, but what's your favorite part of the first LEGO League Challenge?
So even though there's a lot of good things about FLL, like for example, the robot game, I think I value the most about spending time with my team members and having fun, because without it, we really couldn't get any work done. And making sure that we're having fun along the way is what I assume is the most important to our team. So yeah.
Very cool.
Great. All right. And then I think one of the things, if any of you want to answer this, is what's your like favorite part of the robot? Like what's the coolest thing it can do?
Okay, so Something really cool our robot can do is it can follow a line on the ground using color sensors, which are attached on the front of the robot. Also, with the attachment motors, it can complete many difficult tasks. Some involve like pushing a cart along a track, picking up little minifigures, and opening gates.
That sounds pretty cool to me. So, you talked about like one of the most important parts about FLL is having fun. What's something your team did for fun this year that wasn't building a robot or wasn't working on your presentation?
So together as a team, we did a lot of group activities, like just outside of school because we're friends. And I know we would play like a lot of games online together. And one thing that was really fun was during our after school meetings, we would go and like get McDonald's because we were all hungry. It was just really fun.
McDonald's was a big part of my childhood memories from the 1900s, mind you, but just saying right there. And then, of course, you talked a little bit about core values and going to Norway. How does your team incorporate core values in what you do?
One of the ways we incorporate core values is, first of all, we have team meetings very often. After every work session, we make sure to meet up, and this way we can get everyone's input on different things. So this is an example of inclusion and teamwork. We also have Gantt charts, which help us organize our work, so everyone knows what they can do or are supposed to do. So this way, everyone has a job to do.
That is fantastic. Hey, before we close this one out, Annika, is there anything you'd like to say to the team?
Huge congratulations. I can't wait to hear how your trip goes. And just a big shout out to your coach, Miss Aiello, for helping your team get to this point. And good luck.
Yes, Stamp Stations, congratulations. We're all going to be rooting you on while you're in Norway. I know you're going to do a great job representing Canada and doing us proud out there. Going to meet all sorts of people from all over the world, and you should collect a stamp for each one of them there and just put that together. So thank you, Stamp Stations. Congratulations again, and hey, can't wait to see what you do next season. It's going to be great. All right, folks, that was our FLL Challenge Provincials team, and we're going to be back with a team from the First Tech Challenge. But before we do that, let's take a look at a word from one of our sponsors, Magna. All right, we're back here on First Canada Live. Kevin, how cute was that FLL team? That was great.
I remember reffing them. It was a great experience. And then they remembered me at provincial, so
Oh, nice. Oh, they were at both your events.
Yeah, it was great.
That's very, very exciting. All right, Kevin, so we're going to switch gears now. We're going to move into the First Tech Challenge. We had their provincial championship just a couple weekends ago in Kingston at St. Lawrence College. And 4 teams from Ontario are advancing to the first championship in Houston. Team 16-4-17, ROC from Richmond Hill, who've now won 5 consecutive provincial championships. Every provincial championships in this era, they have won every single one of them. Their partner this year, Team 19-8-36 Hawk from Richmond Hill, back-to-back champions. And then we got Team 16-3-66 TFS Robotic Unicorns. They were first place Inspire Award winners, and we'll be talking with them in just a moment. And Team 19-4-98 Devlotics from Scarborough, who was second place Inspire Award winners. So they went to Worlds last year, and they're going again. So we got this great crew. So congratulations to those 4 teams who are going to be representing Ontario. That is going to be fantastic. But right now, I'd like to bring out the Inspire Award winners at the Ontario Provincial Championship for the First Tech Challenge. And heading to the first championship, Team 16-3-66 TFS Robotic Unicorns from North York, Ontario. And we got Tristan, William, and Iwan. How's it going, folks?
Hey, we're really happy to be on the First Canada Live segment today.
Well, we're happy to have you here. This is your team's first time on the show, and it's very well deserved. So, for those of you who don't know, who are watching the audience, you might be first Leg League Challenge member or first robotics competition member. The Inspire Award is the highest honor in the First Tech Challenge. It's analogous to the Impact Award in First Robotics Competition and the Champions Award in FLL Challenge. So, winning that award, you are the top team in the province this year. That is pretty fantastic. So, you won the Inspire Award. What do you think is the most inspirational part about your team?
So first of all, we're really grateful to have the Inspire Award, and we're super pumped to be able to represent Ontario at the World Championship. So I would say that something I think that about our team that is the most inspirational is the mindset that we have going into competitions. Especially because we had a lot of new members joining our team this year. So we go in with more of a growth mindset where our main goal is to learn and improve at every possible opportunity during the competition, treating every setback, every game, every time, every interaction at the competitions as an opportunity for all of us to learn. And so this kind of sustained learning with both members new and old is very important for keeping our team running. It's one of the things we value the most, especially as our leadership team changes every year due to students graduating and also leaving the school because we are a school team. So this sort of ties into several of our outreach initiatives, which focus on inspiring a younger generation of STEM learners, such as our school FLL club, which we have been running for 2 years. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that spirit. It's about, coming in and taking something away and learning something each time. That's I think it's really neat to put that at the forefront. I think there's a lot of teams out there who rightfully so would put like win, our goal is to win this award or our goal is to do this. But if your goal is always to learn, that's a goal that you're going to succeed at. And you're always going to win, which is pretty neat to think about. Kevin, you had a question for the team.
Sure. So yeah, I really like that kind of like mindset. I think it really embodies the values of First. Is there anything particular in this season that you're proud of doing?
I think the main thing we're really proud of is our iterative design process. So the design process, not just for the physical robot, but also for like the coding part, the engineering portfolio, and also presentation. I think every team member has contributed to all of those design processes and learned a lot along the way. And after each competition, whether it's qualifiers or provincials, we as a team, we come together, we see what we improved on, what we might have missed, and what we could do better in the future. And this kind of sort of relearning and reassessing where we're at really helps us with our improvements towards the next competitions. And we're just really happy to be able to kind of relearn everything and then reassess and make it into championships.
Yeah, definitely. And to add on to William, I think another initiative that we're incredibly proud of is our student startup, Lumine. So this idea sparked from First's theme this year, First in Show, where they're kind of aiming to combine arts with STEM. And so we wanted to take a step further and see how entrepreneurship could add to this and help solve real world problems. And that's how our idea of repurposing COVID-19 plexiglass waste came, where we're running a startup currently, which produces nightlights using repurposed plexiglass material in hopes to become a more sustainable team and become more sustainable in our community. And currently we're doing pretty well. We've made quite a few sales already, and we're learning a lot on the way, like how to use Shopify, how to run finances, how to do marketing. And we really hope to grow this startup even bigger in the future to have a larger impact on our community.
That is super cool. And so what, why did you do it? Like what brought you to this? Because, I know like in FLL Challenge, for example, there's like a specific project or whatever, but why as an FTC team did you decide to embark on the startup?
So I think as a team, Tristan mentioned our mindset. It's a lot about learning and also contributing to our community. Initially, when we were prototyping our robot this year, we used a few pieces of plexiglass waste that our school had left over. And we realized that our school has we've produced a lot of waste during COVID-19. We have, I think, a whole storage area full of plexiglass. And we said, this is a problem that we'd like to see how we could solve, and sustainability is huge into like developing in the future. So we kind of came together and thought of the startup idea, and it's really a great learning experience, I think.
I think it's fantastic, and I think it's really important that sustainability shouldn't just be something we do for an award or something. Sustainability is something that we should all be focused on. I'm really glad you're doing that. If you think about where our world is right now, and the climate change and the such, and resource management, resource allocation, we can't fix any of that stuff unless we find ways to live more sustainably. And so it's super cool that you on your own took the initiative to do something like this. And wow, you're going to learn so much from running a startup, at age, 16, 17, 18, which I'm guessing y'all are. I can't wait to see what you're doing when you're, 30, 35. You'll just be fixing the whole world. We won't have any more problems anymore. That's fantastic. So did you have any idea that you were going to win? Like, what was it like when you found out, I guess when I announced it, that you won the Inspire Award?
Yeah, I think initially when we were listening to what the judges had to say about the team that won Inspire Award, they were talking about like a mythical creature, the unicorns. And then during that moment, I think we were all kind of just like confused, but also we had like this anticipation that it was going to be our team. And then finally, when they announced it was the TFS Robotic Unicorns, we were really all excited, and then we all jumped out of our seats, and we basically kind of just scrambled our way down the stairs. And but yeah, we were really grateful for the opportunity, and we were
Well, your excitement was sorry. Go on.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
please.
were all definitely shocked.
Yeah, we were all really surprised, and we were so excited, and we just, like as William said, we just completely like scrambled down the stairs to.
One of the neat things with how the awards are handed out in first is, the biggest award is handed out last. So often teams are not hearing their name called for earlier awards and kind of getting bummed out because, you want to win an award or whatever. And it's like, oh, we're not going to win anything. And then that switch to, oh my goodness, we just won the biggest award, right?
Yeah, definitely. It creates some kind of anticipation. Like you're worried, oh, we really want to win an award, but we haven't won anything. Oh, what's going to happen? And just makes that like moment where for us, for example, for when we won the Inspire Award, it made it so much more like way more of a rush of emotions.
I think that moment was really, really special to all of us.
That was cool. And then you got the confetti launched all over you at the end. That was pretty wild. Hey,
Yeah.
Kevin, you had another question for the team?
Yeah, so after kind of like, I'm guessing the shock wore off, I'm guessing it all turned to excitement. So how excited are you guys about going to Worlds in Houston?
So, as William said earlier, we're really excited to have the opportunity, specifically being able to represent Ontario at the World Championships in Houston with pride. We're hoping to create like lifelong memories there because it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's something which you don't get to experience very often, or even like at all sometimes. But we're hoping to make a lot of in-person connections with First Tech Challenge teams around the globe, because even if you can connect with other people online, it's not the same as actually getting to talk with people in person.
I'll say this. When I was in high school, and Kevin, you've had a similar experience, I got to go to the first championship in my grade, in my last year of high school. Back then it was grade 13, as the previous team would say, in the 1900s. But you said you want to have long memories. You will absolutely have lifelong memories, because I still sometimes think back to that trip and what it meant to me. And when you talk about the connections you make, I made a connection at that event that, 7 years later, they gave me a job where I worked at the company for, 10 years and stuff. And so you will have these opportunities, and it's going to be so cool. And like, first championship's like my favorite place in the world. It's just so intense. And Kevin, you went last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah. I don't think I was like fully appreciative of like how incredible of an event it was, because I was in grade 10. It was like my first year kind of actually doing robotics after COVID. So I just kind of like went, and then I found out how cool robotics was basically. So yeah, like definitely lifetime memories. Just by going, you're definitely going to build those. And then it's awesome that you're kind of like thinking about building these connections, building up your network. And then I have not gotten a job yet in 7 years, but maybe one day we'll see.
I think the other cool thing about Worlds is it feels a little bit like the Olympic Village, because wherever you walk, there's people wearing first shirts and everyone's on a team, and you can just start up a conversation. You're in an elevator with someone, you just be like, "Oh, where are you from? What team are you on?" And it's super friendly, and you share stories, and people are trading things, and it is a blast. I am very excited for you. I'm excited to be down there to cheer you all on, and I'm excited to see how all the Canadian teams do. What's one thing that you want to do while you're in Houston? I know you're going to go to the competition or whatever, but is there anything special you want to do? Like, you want to get a cowboy hat, or what's up?
Oh, our mentor keeps mentioning that he wants to get our full team cowboy hat.
Yeah, because we're in Houston. But also we definitely want to work on like as much fun, like because our unicorn's our team mascot, fun unicorn merch to bring to the competition, with decorations there.
Hey, another thing I could recommend is you should reach out to your local MP and local MPP. They have a stash of Canadian flag pins, and if you bring those down, you'll be the hit. Everyone's going to want to trade from you. All the Americans, Norwegians, all teams from all over the world. So those are gold when it comes to trading, and you can get them from free for your MP or MPP. So
good to know. We're
That's
keeping
a-
that in mind for sure.
that's a big tip there. You're going to be representing the six down there. This is going to be great. All right, folks. TFS Robotics Unicorns, thank you so much for coming on. Hey, before you go, is there anything you wanted to say to the audience today?
I think just to end this, we all just feel super, super honored to have this opportunity. And we can't wait to meet everyone else at Houston. And yeah, we're gonna make this we're gonna make the most out of this opportunity.
Yeah, Worlds is definitely going to be a blast.
It's going to be fabulous. Hey, congratulations again to the team. And also thank you to your coaches and mentors for making this happen and, providing you with all the opportunities. And thank all of you. I really enjoy your spirit and your energy and the way you kind of represent First values and gracious professionalism. I know you're going to be an extraordinary example of what it means to be part of First Canada down in Houston. It's going to be great. Thank you, team.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
All right, folks, we are going to be back in just a moment with our head referees. So see you in a second. All right, Kevin, we're back.
Boy, can't wait.
You know what I learned during that transition video, Kevin? That's a 17-second video, and I'm able to finish 500 milliliters of water in 17 seconds. That's what I realized. So
that's pretty incredible. Speed drinking.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit faster than I wanted to, but we'll see. All right, folks, let's bring out our guests, our head referees from the first robotics competition, starting off with First Canada alum, head referee Rishi Jotsingani. Welcome.
Hey, Karthik. Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, buddy. And also we have a first alum, head referee, Matt Glanfield.
Hey, Karthik. Thanks for having me.
All right, Matt, I guess, am I still allowed to call you a head referee?
I don't know. It's not up to me. You'd have to ask HQ about that.
Okay, all right. Hey, you're head referee in spirit, and you definitely know the rules just as well as any of the referees from around the world. So thank you for being here, Matt. And also we have a First Canada alum, the Ontario District Head Referee and 2015 Volunteer of the Year Award winner, Praneet Trivedi. How's it going, Praneet?
Everyone, it's going great. Thanks, Karthik. Thanks for having me on with the show. Hi, Kevin. Let's get
Praneet,
talking, dude.
You and Kevin are buddies. You're both Volunteer of the Year Award winners.
Yeah, it's
Not quite there yet, but
no, you won one for
Nah,
FLL. That's FLL, FRC. They're programs, man. They're all equal. So
it's all equal. There's you can't go around saying one's better than the other.
Yeah.
So
But
don't think
Kevin,
about it that way, Kevin.
So Praneet, you won yours when you were pretty young too, because you won yours when you were in university, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, you won that when you were going to Ontario Tech University, right?
Formerly known as University of Ontario Institute of Technology.
There you go. And Kevin won it as a grade 12 student. Very, very cool. All right, folks. So Crescendo has begun. The Crescendo season, Rishi, you were on the show for kickoff. We did a deep dive into the game. And now teams are finished their robot, mostly finished their robot, maybe not finished their robot at all. Maybe they, okay, I'm not going to start. But teams are just going here. Kevin said, things are going well for his team. But now we're into competition season and gears shift, and you're moving from building your robot to how are you going to compete with your robot. And as teams start thinking about the advanced strategies, you really need to know about how can I make sure I'm following the rules? How can I make sure I'm not getting penalty points? So we wanted to go through a bunch of different scenarios and a bunch of different things that might have changed this year and chat with you all, the experts. So I'm going to start, at the very beginning, a good place to start, the autonomous mode. This year, there are 5 notes staged at the center of the field that both alliances can legally reach an autonomous mode. So that was not the case last year. Each team had their own line of 4 game pieces that they could work from, and it was fine. 2022, you couldn't go to the other side, to grab game pieces. We haven't had a shared interactive auto like this since 2016. I believe the balls in the center were contested.
Yeah.
The balls in the cargo in the center. No, was it called cargo?
Boulders.
Rocks?
Boulders.
Thank you.
Boulders.
Boulders.
I guess
Oh,
18
man.
might be like a weird line where, but yeah,
Yeah, 18 was because the scale was interactive at least.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you weren't necessarily fighting over the either way. You're going at them. Can you explain how the interaction rules work for this part of the field during autonomous? And I believe this rule for those who are following along with your game manual, because what else do you do except always have your game manual with you during build season? I used to sleep with it beside my bed, so I could if I woke up in the middle of the night, I could take some notes or whatever what I was dreaming of as I was dreaming of strategies. So G405 if you're following along. So talk to us about what you can legally do with these notes in the autonomous period.
Who wants to take this?
Yeah, I can take this. So
Go for
essentially, in auto, the main thing is that you can't interact with things that like staged notes that are on the other side of I believe it's the center line. So you can't interact with you can't contact an opponent robot nor a note that is staged in the opponent's wing as well. So the center line, the center notes that are staged there, that's all good to go. You can contact those. You can even technically cross the line in the center, but you can't contact anything in the opponent's wing. That's mainly the biggest thing that you want to avoid.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Praneeth.
No, just to build on what Rishi was saying, you can cross the line but not contact it. But if you make contact with an opponent robot while you yourself have not crossed the center line entirely, that is okay, because it's really hard to pick up notes without going over the center line. But if you cross it entirely, don't touch anything.
And so with a lot of teams, having under the bumper pickups this year, I don't think that's a secret anymore. There's been 8 million reveal videos with those. Teams are going to have to go not pretty far, but to the other side of the field. So you're envisioning, 2 robots going 20 feet per second autonomous, they run into each other. That's fine?
As long as neither of them has crossed the center line entirely, no harm, no foul.
All right.
It's actually a good thing to mention that this year, the A stop was added. So essentially, if you do lose control of your robot, let's say in autonomous, and it does go past that, you can hit your A stop, stop your robot in autonomous, and then still continue and play teleop. You don't have to, your match doesn't end there at least.
That's right. The A stop stands for autonomous stop, as opposed to the E stop, which stands for emergency stops. This will stop your robot in autonomous, but then you'll still be able to drive in teleop. So it's a neat way of stopping your robot, right where it needs to stop. So that's pretty cool. All right. Kevin, you got a question for our referees?
Absolutely. So there's a few different rules about how far you can launch a note, whether you can launch it from, obviously you can't launch it from the other opponent's wing. How do these rules change for auto and teleop?
Yeah, this actually, it's a pretty good rule. And I think they've done a pretty good job describing the differences between the two. So as Karthik mentioned, for the people who follow along with their manual, we're going to talk about G404 for the autonomous mode first. And basically it says that if you have a note in your possession in autonomous, you can only launch or shoot that note towards the goal, or basically cross the zone if any part of your bumper is breaking the wing line. Basically, any part of your robot bumper has to be breaking the wing line. Otherwise, it is a tech foul. Now, this is different than G414 for teleop, where they've done, again, just a very good job with the diagrams, where it's essentially, it's like the icing rule in hockey, where you can only move the note forward one zone at a time. So if your robot's fully contained in the opponent's wing area, you can only launch it forward to the center area of the field by the center line. But if you're in the center zone, then you can launch it straight into the speaker or move it forward into your own wing. And again, if you violate that rule, it's a foul. But if you do it again, it's a tech foul from there onwards.
I think that's an important one to consider, because I think one of the strategies teams have been talking about this year, and we saw it at the first Israel event, Israel #1 as they call it, where teams were trying to leave some notes in their zone, so they were queued up. So when teams hit an amplification period, I gotta get that right at some point, they'd have them there. But you don't want to be sending them in from too far and taking a foul right there.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed, like playing with these notes and playing on the carpet, is they kind of shoot like pucks on ice. So teams should be very careful about like this, because you can unintentionally just like hit a note and while you're in your opponent's wing, let's say, and just launch it across into your wing, or like hit that note hits another one and then that goes into the wing, something like that.
It's also important that it's where the note ends up too, right? It's not where it lands on your shot. So if you are trying to hit in the middle wing and it bounces weird and rolls into your wing, that's bad.
Yeah, and
It's
like
wherever
also
the
like
note stops, or
Yep, exactly.
and like that note ends up like flipped on its side, it just goes. Like it just rolls and rolls and rolls. Like it's tumbleweed at that point. Okay, folks, it's a favorite one. Like there wouldn't be a need for referees in FRC if there weren't protected zones. So I think all three of you at some point are probably just gonna get ready and you're gonna spend a whole event staring at a protected zone the whole sort of time. It's just like your space, your ownership, It's so how do they work this year, and are they generally the same as last year? And we're talking G422, 423, and 424.
Yeah,
Alright.
I can take this one.
Go for
At
it.
least to start. There's 3 zones, right? One's the podium, which is the legs of the climbing structure. Yep. Can't touch a robot that's touching those. Then there's the source and amp zones. Don't want contact in there. And then the stage, which is a little tricky because it's the stage during the end of the match, or the stage if a robot isn't touching the carpet. So if a robot's climbed at any point during the match, don't touch it. If it's in the last 20 seconds, don't touch a robot that's in their stage. And one of the really nice things about the rule this year is that I believe all these are regardless of which robot is in the zone. So if any part of either robot's bumpers are in the source or the amp, it's a penalty. You don't have to worry about whether it's red and blue or red and white or whatever it might have been in previous years.
Matt's going back to the 3 robot, 3 alliances. My goodness.
Yeah.
Matt, is that for all zones, like including the podium?
No, go ahead,
sorry.
Richie.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it wouldn't be for the podium, to my understanding. So it actually depends on like the time in the match, but for simplicity's sake, the podium contact before the first 20 seconds of the match, it basically has to be blue touching blue podium. So blue bumpers
So if
touching
blue's
blue
touch,
podium.
and then if red touches blue, then it's a foul. But
Exactly.
then once it switches to the stage in the last 20 seconds for end game, then it becomes anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's neat because the podium protected zone overlaps with the stage because podium is part of the stage, which I guess was similar to 2022 because there was the thing that
That's
you
right.
could touch on the hanger. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what that was called. Right
Yeah, I
before.
forget. Launch pad.
It's like the launch pad? Yeah, launch pad.
Yeah.
I think we were all just too busy not looking at the launch pad, and we were just waiting for a robot to launch. So
there you go. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Kevin, what's your question?
Yeah. So every year, naturally, fouls occur, but not just on the robot's behalf. Like human players can also get fouls. Is there any advice you have on like human players to avoid fouls this year? For example, like G427 or G101?
Kevin, are you a human player this year?
Don't think so. I think our team will have a few representatives, but not one of them is not me.
Okay, just checking.
I'll start with saying that these human player fouls are probably one of the most common that happen in FRC, and I think every team should really pay attention, especially if you're in the role, on what these fouls are, because they happen really fast, and people don't think about them when they're in the heat of the moment. And you don't think about them because you're not driving the robot. You don't think you can get a foul.
I'll say this, probably the easiest way to not end up on someone's pick list is if you accumulate a lot of human player fouls. That's an easy one for teams to eliminate. So on that note, how can teams avoid these fouls? What should they not do?
I mean, the main thing would be keep your hand out of the field. That's like the easiest way to do it. Yeah, 427 talks about not putting your hand in the chute, which is the kind of ramp area that is in the source. That will be a foul, so you can't extend into the chute. So when you're putting in a note, just make sure you're completely outside. You're just throwing it through.
So like your fingertips can't even go in?
Yeah, your fingertips can't go in. I mean, the ref will be watching, and if they think that your fingertips went in, or they will call something most likely. So I would just like avoid it completely.
Yeah,
Just
so it's
make
not
very
about
obvious.
it's not about your finger getting into the field, it's about getting into the chute.
Yeah, so that one's
So-
just for the shoot.
Yeah, this is a bit better than what we had in last year's game, where human players were allowed to, extend their arm into the chute with a cone and just really force it down that little ramp. And I am very happy with this improved wording, where it's
I
just
think it's
simple and
also-
safer.
Yeah, it's absolutely the safety is the key, folks. Safety is the overriding priority, and the last thing we want is someone's hand to get caught in the chute, or a robot's coming to pick something up and slips a hand. Like, we just don't want anyone to get hurt.
Absolutely. And the second rule that you asked, Kevin, G101. Just don't walk onto the field. You're not allowed onto the field during the match. Only walk on when the lights are green. I think back in quoting 2016 again, I think we had Rick Mercer at one of our events who tried to run onto the field during a live show match. We had to stop it. So try not to do that. And sometimes if there's an arena fault or something, ask a head ref for an FTA for a thumbs up if the lights are not green. And ask them if you're allowed to go on. And then you won't get penalized.
It also mentioned for
first
the
time.
high notes in the end game, when you're throwing them onto the microphones, you want to be careful about not reaching onto the field while you're doing that, right?
Absolutely.
Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of the high
Noted.
notes, anyone who's been to a practice field, have any of you all hit a shot yet? Any of you hit a high note?
I'm the
Absolutely.
best. I found out I'm the best at it.
You
I
are
don't
you
know what it
really?
is. Yeah.
There you go.
I like it's it just you can get a rhythm into it, but it's actually it's not too bad.
Why don't
Are
you
you going
guys-
to be trying to claim you're a student at some events this year? And
He'll join a new team.
yeah,
Well,
My
I mean,
student will be the
I'm
best.
not
He's
gonna say
practicing every
anything.
field.
Oh, yeah, Kevin won't rat you out. You're good,
Yeah,
Rishi.
that's true.
You're good.
That's true.
What about foot fouls? Are there foot fouls this year if a human player steps out of a zone?
There's actually an exception for essentially when you're in that amp zone. If a human player, it tends to happen. It'll probably happen when they're throwing the high notes. If you're partially outside of the driver box essentially, or the amp box, I don't know exactly what it's called. That's okay. That's not a problem. Obviously, don't leave the field. Don't leave that zone completely. But
Yeah.
if you have a foot out, that's totally fine.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, folks, we're in the end game now. We're trying to avoid Thanos, make sure he doesn't get that last Infinity Stone. What should teams be careful about?
I'll start us off. Teams should be very careful if they're attempting to score a note into the trap. It's very easy and very precarious to just come in contact with the trap on the inside of the chute. Don't do that. It's not allowed. I know the manual has this slightly confusing perspective image of what you can and cannot touch in the game section, but yeah, basically just don't touch anything inside that.
And would that negate a climb?
Absolutely, it would.
So, like, it would negate the climb and the points towards the ensemble
ensemble
bonus.
Page. Yeah.
be really careful if you're going for that last second trap score, because if you leave your trap mechanism touching anything but the surface of the trap, that could get rid of your climb.
Wow.
Yep.
And then what about timing? Like, when do you need to be on stage? Like, so if you're hanging at the end of the match, are you good?
No.
Okay.
All of the onstage point values are assigned by the are assessed by the referees, and either 5 seconds after the match is completed, or when all the robots have come to rest, whichever of those two things happens first. So I think it's a little bit different than 2018, for example, where you only have to be above like a certain line right at t = 0. But now you have to remain on stage at t+5 after the match is ended.
Yeah, similar to 2022, I think they had it like 5 seconds after the match. You'd see referees kind of counting down with their hand, or the lights flash after 5 seconds.
And you don't have to be touching the chain though.
You don't have to be touching anything really, but yeah, you don't have to be touching the chain at all.
Gotta
Which
read
kind of
those rules
brings up some
carefully.
creative ideas and robots that Karthik will be excited for, I believe.
Yeah, so like if you jump 5 seconds after the match and you're in the air.
So there
That's
is
good.
there
That
is
counts.
a rule about basically, I'm not quoting it here, but abusing the 5-second count. So that may be something you want to avoid. But yeah, it
I'm
would
just
be
gonna say
theoretically possible.
everyone on this show knows this, and everyone watching probably knows this too. I love jumping robots. To the point in 2022 where I just didn't pay attention to any robots unless they jumped. It was just like, yeah, oh yeah, like we're gonna have like a world high score or whatever. Does it jump? No. Oh, okay. Sorry, Ty, not watching you. You know, like it's jumping robots all the way. Kevin, you like jumping robots?
Sick. I remember like the first time it jumped. I don't remember if I was there volunteering or if it was like my friend ran up to me and showed it to me. But like that was just like, oh my God, you can do that. And my friend was like, it's not against any
Pradeep
of the
and I
rules.
started screaming. Like literally.
That Waterloo practice match. I
Waterloo
remember it very
practice match,
clearly.
dude.
Yeah.
Best practice match ever. Okay. So we talked about Endgame. This one comes up often, and the rules change from year to year. But well, the implementation of the rule. This year, robots are only allowed to control one game piece at a time, but there are some exceptions. What are the exceptions?
I was gonna say, Matt, you want to take this one?
Yeah. Love this
Sure,
one.
yeah. There's areas of the field where you're allowed to have multiple notes. So the source zone, you can be controlling more than one note. There's also parts of the game where you're allowed to control more than one note in different areas. So in autonomous, you probably never want to be controlling more than one note.
Yeah, that's a big one. Well, in Teleop, you have a little bit of like some play. It's basically if you're assuming you can start controlling the notes outside of the source zone and you're outside there. If you you cannot control it for greater than momentary.
And
more than
momentary
one
is
note.
defined as 3 seconds.
3 seconds, exactly. Control is like a big word here. So there are some I would advise I'd advise teams to like really read into like what this means, but essentially I wouldn't be worried about like notes deflecting off of you or anything like that, especially in auto. Oh, just to clarify, auto you can't control more than one note basically at all.
So the momentary exception does not apply in auto.
Correct. This is the first time they've had these separated types of rules, both with like shooting as well as control. So it's really kind of refreshing to see. But yeah, no controlling 2 notes in auto at all.
And so, Rishi, if you could, you don't have the rule right in front of you, so you can paraphrase to a certain degree, but define control.
Yeah, essentially it is. Some examples would include like if your robot is fully covering a note, if your robot is basically in possession of the note. So something like deflecting or bulldozing wouldn't necessarily count as that, but something like hurting it, so basically like pushing it towards a position that would be advantageous, let's say.
Yeah.
That would be considered control.
Okay. So it's tight. Teams have to plan their autos very carefully and be careful in teleop and watch for that 3-second momentary grace period.
It's a tech foul in auto, and I believe a normal foul in teleop.
Kevin?
I just want to like kind of ask about the kind of teleop, kind of like tying in the earlier rule about not being able to like shoot it past certain areas, but like shooting counts as wherever it ends up, not where it like lands. So like teams wouldn't be able to like shoot notes from like the source into their area because that would count as like wherever it ends up, and that would count as like a foul, tech foul.
That would be a G414 violation if it happens in
414.
teleop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
that's right, Kevin.
So you're picking it up already. Maybe you can be here with us one day.
Oh boy.
Hey man, if you're interested in reffing, you come find me.
That's your
I
guy.
think Kevin is like
What's that name
shadowing
team?
for all the different key positions this year. He's just like he's auditioning like all of the leads to be like, what position do I want to do next year? Do I want to work with Praneet? Do I want to work with Alex Wilcox? You know, maybe Hinkle.
You have volunteer experience. You witnessed the jump off for the first time, so
Yeah, that's true.
that's
That's true.
fact.
True.
All
Absolutely.
right. So one thing that I want to ask about, because we're asking questions, and the question box is a place that referees and teams meet to hang out after matches. And this is where a team can go if they want some clarification on a ruling after a match. But what tips do you have for teams for when they come to the question box? What should they do to be, like to make sure that they'll best be able to have their question answered?
Okay, yeah, I'll take this one. First thing, remember that only send one student drive member that has a drive team badge with them to the question box. Like a mentor can accompany them, but they have to observe silently. Only the student drive team member can talk to the head referee. Remember that, just be clear. Remember that we are with you on this. We're on your side. We're just trying to call a fair game, so everyone has a level playing field. If you think that a call was missed, or if you have a question regarding what happened, just ask us. We may not remember every single instance of something that goes on, but try to just tell us in like short, clear terms. Be like, hey, I think this red robot took this action, which resulted in this happening. Is that a foul? Was that called? Was that not called? And how should we go about preventing this from happening in the future? And we'll try and answer those, to the best of our ability in that match.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember, if you come to the question box, the good chance is you and the referee are going to disagree on an interpretation, and that's okay. This happens. There's going to be different viewpoints. The referee might not have seen it as well as you did. Maybe you didn't see it as well as you thought you did. But it's important that you're always going to be heard. The referees are there. They're volunteering because they care and they want things to be done fairly. I think all of our head referees in Ontario are First Canada alumni or alumni of other robotics program, like Jeff Hagan. He did the precursor first. They will always listen to you and they will always hear you out. You might not agree, but that's okay. And sometimes the referee will thank you, like, oh, shoot, yeah, this is a really good point. Let me chat with the other referee. And then they'll come back and say, oh, I chatted with the referee and they saw things this way. So it's an open conversation. And I think it's just coming in with an open mind. And also, I don't know, to any of you, is it helpful when they come with the game manual to say, like, hey, this is the rule I want to ask about?
Yeah, I was going to say that's my favorite thing, because usually the question box means there's a disagreement about something. So if they already have the rule in the game manual and can point to it and say, this is the rule I have a question about, we're already much closer to getting on the same page about what happened in that match. Right?
That's
Just
funny.
That's the first thing I do anyway when someone has a question, is I say, okay, let's look at the rule together and read through it. Right.
You can see the generational splits there, because I was like, yeah, like, I have it on paper, and Matt's like, like on a phone.
Oh, I have a printout of the rules at every event I go
Okay,
to, but I've seen a lot of the students come up with phones.
I try to not have a student like approach me with a phone or a tablet with the rules, and if that happens, I'll try and have the FTA over with me, because it's very important that people don't think that we're looking at match video or replays. It's hard to do that on a piece of paper. So if that usually happens, then I'll just bring my own game manual and ask them to put the phone away if no one else is available. But yeah, very important to teams watching and listening. Print the manual as close, like the day before the event. because the last thing we want is you bring
Is
a,
an old
a printed manual from kickoff and the rules won't line up, and you lose
So-
the match because the rules changed.
So Rishi, Praneet, on that cell phone thing. So what if a team comes to the question box and is like, "Hey, I just want a selfie with Praneet." Is that okay?
Yeah,
All right.
we love it. You know, if you want to come to the question box and also just give us samosas or tell us, hey, you know, the refs are doing a great job, we love to hear that. We'll pass that message on. You
There
don't
you
have to only approach us when you think there's a problem. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
or
that's important too. The question box isn't just for we got a foul wrong during the match, right? It's any question you have at the event, whether it's reffing or not, you can come to the question box and someone will find you an answer, whether it's from the head ref or the FTA or something else. And you know, if that means there's too many people in the boxes, we've had volunteers in the past that will queue the question box for us.
shout out, folks. We got a special guest in chat right now. We got Samosa Mom in chat.
That's right.
Apparently there are samosas coming. I've
They
seen the
are.
samosa schedule, so I'm very excited for that, you know. So you
Yeah.
want to come to you can come to the question box and be like, "Hey refs, I disagree with the call you made 2 matches ago, but I still think you're great. Here's a samosa." That'd be like a GP way of handling. You're
That'd be
still
very nice. Yeah,
I like
Yeah,
that.
you know.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It is okay to disagree about this stuff, folks. It is normal, it's natural. But what's not okay for anyone, referees or teams or volunteers or parents or mentors, is to lose our gracious professionalism in that moment. Because gracious professionalism is about competing the right way, and it's about being proud when we win, but accepting that mistakes happen and that sort of stuff. And I think that our community does a really good job of that.
Absolutely.
Oh, we got all the guests in chat right now. I think
Yeah,
we
we
got
got
2
both
aunties in
moms.
chat. Wow. Wow, this is good. So glad the journey still continues for you all, from rookies to mentors and much more. Can't believe I still have the same thrill I had in 2008 when I first saw Praneet at his first robotics event. That is very heartful. That is very, very sweet. That was a good event in 2008 too at GTR.
No, my first event actually was a 2008 Waterloo Regional, baby.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
a
yeah.
very good event. I learned more about competitiveness in Ontario right out of the gates. It's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, before we go, Kevin, anything else you want to ask the referees or anything you want to say?
Think of right now, but I'm sure my team probably will have more questions at the event, so I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Yeah,
See
see
you
you
at
in
the
the
drivers
question
meetings.
box, Kevin.
Yeah,
Likewise,
drivers meeting
yeah.
question box. Referees,
Thanks for
anything
bringing
like
us
you'd
those.
like to say to our audience before we go?
I guess there is actually one thing, and we don't usually talk about it too often, but you can actually, if you don't want to, let's say face to face, ask a question or have to go on a microphone during a driver's meeting, there is a way to submit questions before the driver's meeting at Pit Admin. So take advantage. We'll get those questions right before the driver's meeting, and we can answer them as part of the whole group of questions being asked.
All right. And so, Rishi, our teams will be seeing you as the head referee at Newmarket.
Newmarket, yep.
And Praneet, our teams will be seeing you as the head referee at Georgian and Provincials.
That is correct.
And Matt, our teams won't be seeing you this year.
Not unless they come down to Philadelphia and go to the Ben Salem event there, which
You're
they
not-
can, right?
You're not going to come to the
Interdistrict
provincial
play is allowed.
provincial championship.
No, I don't think so, unfortunately.
It's right
Yeah,
by the airport, man. It's like right there, you know?
Yeah.
it's true. Fly in, fly out. Yep.
There you go. There you go.
I'll think about it.
You have a place
Okay.
at my house if you need it, so you know
Yeah.
that it is.
There you go. All right, folks. Hey, to our referees, thank you for coming on the show. And to all the referees out there who might be watching this, thank you for volunteering. These events wouldn't happen. And I know our teams really appreciate everything you do to make our events fair and fun and exciting. So thank you so much for all of that. And that is a wrap for this week's show. All right, folks, our next show will be March 12th, where we'll be doing recaps of the Centennial and Newmarket event. Praneet, you're going to be on as one of the MCs from Centennial, talking
Better
about that
believe
event.
it.
Scarborough
Scarborough.
and Newmarket. You know, it's gonna be it's gonna be a good time. So we will be back then. So see you in a couple weeks. Subscribe, turn on notifications. Thank you to our producers. Thank you to everyone who participated in chat. And we'll see everyone at an event soon. Bye, folks.
Everyone.